Welcome to the Lean Out Your Business podcast, a show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs accelerate business growth and simplify success. I'm your host, Crista Grasso, and I've been working with businesses for more than 2 decades to help them lean out and optimize what's working while eliminating anything that's not adding value. So if you are ready to get more time back in your day, more profit in your business, and to do business differently, growing and scaling on your terms, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. Today, we are going to be talking all about lead generation and content with Lisa Pezik, and you are going to love today's episode because she is going to be busting some myths about some of the really bad information that's out there about this, plus sharing some amazing tips on things that you can do to really level up your lead gen and the content in your business. So Lisa, welcome. So excited that you're here.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, before I have you tell us a little bit about your journey, let me tell people a little more about you. So Lisa is a business strategist, a #1 international Amazon bestselling author, Thrive Global author, worldwide speaker, and RN. That's pretty interesting. It is her passion to teach you how to get clear in your message, transition when things aren't working, be visible both online and offline, and get potential customers to notice so they become clients fast. Lisa and her husband, Eric, are couplepreneurs and specialize in done-for-you services with branding, content creation, funnels, and websites with their agency, Infinite Design House. And they also offer SEO, blog, social media, and lead generation with their Sales Booster program. So, Lisa, so excited. Tell us more about you and your journey and why you do what you do.
Oh, yeah. So being an entrepreneur, running a business with my husband, if you would have asked me 20 years ago if this is where my life would be, I could never even imagine that this is where it would have gone. And I grew up a planner. Like I had a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. And I thought my whole entire path in life, was going to be set out. And it did not include doing what I'm doing now. So I went to school to be a nurse. So former RN, worked, in the intensive care unit and just did all that crazy shift work and night shift and just the wildness that comes with being a healthcare professional. And what I learned from that was a deep sense of empathy and connection. And that was something that always stuck with me. Now, being a nurse was my good old mommy dearest dream. That was never my dream. But growing up in a household where, small town Pennsylvania, it's like if you stayed in the bubble, you'd never get out of the bubble. So our parents either wanted to keep us close or it was like, go, go, go. And I think my parents meant well by saying, go, get out of the bubble, go be a nurse, get a good paying job, get stability. But it didn't make me happy. Even though I was loving the intensive care unit and the growth and the change and the fast pace of it and always using my brain and having to critically think, I always thought, God, there's just something more here. I want to get to know people. And I worked in an intensive care unit where your patients don't talk to you because they're typically, with tubes and lines and things. And decided to take a vacation with a good friend of mine who was a nurse. And it was on that vacation that I met my husband. So I was living in Pennsylvania. He was here in Toronto in Canada, where I am now. And again, was not looking for love on that vacation, was not looking for my forever husband, and met him there. And we did long distance. And we knew right away that we were meant to be together. Now, he has been in marketing, branding. He's been entrepreneurial a lot more than I ever was. I was blue collar, nurse, healthcare worker. And he's like, man, you have so much fire. You have so much passion. You have an entrepreneurial spirit. And I'm like, no. And he's like, babe, we got to explore. We got to do something together. And it was really his push that made me open up my eyes to think, okay, what is this world of business? What is this world of side hustling, which I did for a long time? in the health and fitness industry. What I learned from that was that everybody has a story and everybody has teaching. Everybody's overcome something in their life. And typically, when I was training in health and fitness, it was about what people were eating and moving and thinking and doing, but it was these limiting beliefs and these stories and these things that I had to overcome to get them healthier in their life. And then I fell in love with that. I fell in love with people's story. I fell in love with getting to pull out the gold and the goodness in people. And my husband said, damn, I'm really good with the tech and the funnels and the branding and all the behind the scenes stuff that I don't want to do. And you're really good being out and talking and connecting and being with people. And I think we really got something here if we can teach people how to have their strategy and content. But then when they got to put their butt in the seat and do all the tech and all of that, I got that side of it. And that's essentially where our business was birthed and born, through the two of us co-creating something really great together. And I think in marriage and in business, that's really what it is. Like, you fall in love with someone and you start somewhere, but then you look at the possibility of what you can create together and where you can go. And that's been the most fun part, is we play on each other's strengths as partners, as spouses, as we have a little guy, as parents, and now our business together. So what you think you know sometimes, or what you think your life is going to be, sometimes is not at all what it turns out to be. And that's the most fun part ever.
I love so much about your story there. You were brave enough to actually go off and make a change. You could have easily just stayed in RN and said, it's a good job.
Oh,
I'm helping people. You could have easily justified yourself into a life of something that wasn't what you really, really were passionate about. And
mm-hmm.
so I love that you were brave enough, to make that change. But B, it's a big move to start, or even to go into a business, but especially to do it with a spouse. And so the fact that you guys learned how to do that in a way where you both played to your strengths and were able to co-create this amazing business is just incredible. And I feel like that co-creation is what you do for your clients, right? You
Yes.
co-create for them to help them get results, because again, what your natural strength in is different than what their natural strength is. So I think that's a really beautiful, just kind of holistic view of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's we don't do anything. It's cookie cutter. I was actually thinking about that the other day. I'm like, we have systems and strategies, of course, that we take people through when we're creating their lead generation plan, or we're creating a course or a membership or a funnel or whatever digital asset we're bringing to life. Of course, we have a team and systems and strategies, but everything is so individualized in the moment. What makes the most sense for you and where you're going. And again, where do you want to be 5 years from now? I don't want to just band-aid something right now. I want to build out a long-term plan for you that's going to keep you rocking and rolling. So it's so individualized, everything we do.
I love that, because to me, there is no place for cookie cutter solutions anywhere in business, but
No.
especially as you're starting to grow and getting to a place where you're ready to scale. It's, sometimes you can follow something a little more cookie cutter to get your business off the ground,
You got
even
it.
though I still think that, there's a lot of opportunity to break the molds there.
Yeah.
But as you're growing and scaling, there is no room for cookie cutter in
Mm-mm.
business.
I agree. I agree 100%.
So, one of the things that you shared was story. And even your story was so compelling to listen to, and it makes us want to know more, right? So, how can people use their story and really leverage that in their business and in their content and to connect with people?
Well, the first thing is everybody has a story. So usually people go, my life is not that interesting. I am boring. I don't have a story. Nobody's going to care about this story. So first thing is to know you have one. And that is your superpower. And that is what makes you different than everybody else, because only you have been through that experience the way you've been through it. You might share a similar heartbreak, pain, moving, divorce, being broke, whatever it is, whatever pain, grief, loss thing that you have, we've all shared that emotion, but your experience and the way you handle it is so unique to you. So you have a story. Now, you don't want to share a story. You don't want to share the most triumphant thing where you were like on top of the mountain kicking butt, because that's not interesting. We want to know the underdog story. We want to know the time when you didn't know what the heck you were going to do and you had to figure it out. Because when we can help people make decisions and we can give people perspective, that is the most important piece of your content versus any other kind of how-to information. We're kind of over that how-to era. There's so much information on how-to. The decision is where it starts with people, because if we don't help them make a decision, they're never going to do the how-to. So the story taps right into the decision, and you have to tell it from a resolved place. So there's good storytelling, and then there's like, you don't want to dump on your audience like you're in therapy. There's things you share in therapy, and then there's things that you share on a webinar, on a stage, and you have to be telling it from a resolved place. Meaning that you're no longer judging the person that did you wrong. You're no longer judging yourself in that scenario. You're telling it from a factual, emotional journey that you're taking them on, like a great movie or a great, book that you read. And usually you have to get help. So you have to get a therapist to help you work through it. And you have to get somebody who understands story. But the quickest way is just to start journaling and writing. What are the things I've overcome in my life? What are the things I've had to figure out? What story does is it binds us. Our pain binds us. Our decision-making binds us. Those times when we were down and out binds us. And those who use story tap into so many more emotions than someone who won't. That vulnerability, that courage, that really the story is like your secret sauce to everything. But there is a do and a don't, a right and a wrong kind of way to do it. Because people always say, yeah, go tell story. And then someone's like, somebody did this to me and I felt this way. And you're like, it almost feels like an overshare. So there is an eloquent way and there is an art to storytelling. But when you get it right, people choose you right away. They go, I don't know what Crista is selling and I don't know what she's all about, but I can totally relate when she talked about that time that she got her heart broken, or I can totally relate that time when she didn't know what her right next business step was because she was looking at X, Y, and Z and she did this and oh my God, that's speaking right to me.
Yeah, so powerful. And I loved what you shared too, because you do have to be really vulnerable with storytelling. And I think a lot of people either, to your point, don't feel like they have a story or just want to tell the high points. Like, there was that time that I made, this much money in this much time. And it's like, because you're trying to like prove to people or show your credibility. And so you want to just do the high points. But it's the vulnerable points that really do build that connection. And that's where people make the decision that they want to know more and work with you instead of the, sure, results are great. But it really is, I think, that vulnerability that makes such a big difference.
Yeah, it makes you human. We want to work with people who are human. Yeah, 100%.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about content since we started down this path, right? So I think between lead generation and content, you must just get questions about this all day, every day.
Yep.
Because what are some of the things that entrepreneurs say? If I only had more qualified leads, or what on earth do I do for content? And so we start, with content. What are some of the strategies and some of the things that you find that are working really well and that people can do in a way that's simple and not overly complex or stressful?
100%. Well, going back to story, that is an amazing way for attraction marketing and repel marketing. Because when you share a story, if the decision that you made or the way that you handled something, somebody's like, oh, I would never... then they're not your ideal client. Oh, I can't believe she or he, blah, 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 blah. They know right away that you don't match because they don't see the perspective in a way that you see it. And not that you always have to see eye to eye, but they typically have some sort of visceral reaction when you tell a story that makes them go, ooh, I feel connected to that person, or ooh, I feel really disconnected to that person. So story is a fantastic way to attract or repel that exact person. Vulnerability and realness is where it's at these days. So gone are the days, even in lead generation, gone are the days of perfectly background, filtered perfection, not, blumming any words or not having any missteps or not goofing anything up. What I'm seeing working, Facebook ads, organic social media, sales videos for landing pages, somebody literally with the iPhone like this, walking, talking, sitting, post-workout, in their car, walking on the trail, walking their dog. There's a realness to, I'm sharing what's on my heart. I'm sharing what truly means to come out in this moment. And you see that when you're in a not studio produced video, right? You can tell when someone's reading from a teleprompter. That requires you to go without a teleprompter requires you to fully step in to owning your story, your genius, all those things that you have. So I think everybody's always looking for the next funnel or the next kind of business strategy. And really where it starts is knowing your unique content to you, your unique story, your unique tips and tricks that you share, your unique perspective. And then just doing the darn thing, creating, even if you never use the video, go create 10 videos when the moment hits you. And you never know when that right time is that you're like, oh my God, I have a video on that. Oh my God, let's run ads to that. This makes the most sense to use this. Let's split test and let's try this. Again, what you think, almost back to the beginning, what you think you don't know anything. You go, oh, this is going to convert and this is going to be perfect because I'm in the studio, I'm teleprompted, I got my hair and makeup done, I look perfect, and this is going to be, I sound perfect. Perfect is boring. We want to connect again to a real human being. So I think people, they don't do lead generation, they don't do video, they don't show their face because they're worried about what they look like, what they sound like, if their setup is perfect, if they're saying all the right things, if they're using sales psychology and hitting all the pain points. And no, you have to go back to you. You already know it. It's already inside of you. But you have to be consistent. That's the other thing. You can't shoot 10 videos and then disappear. Content is an ever evolving machine. And we let the data drive us. So again, you might say this is going to be the best thing ever. No, what does the data say? Are people liking that or not? Right? Did this work? Split test A and B. Which one worked better? So again, we take our feelings out of it and we go with, okay, this is what people are responding to. This is what people like. This is what people are vibing with right now. And then we create more content around that. So we let the data drive us.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And I remember while you were saying that, it just reminded me of I had to film this thing like an overview. It was kind of like a commercial of sorts. And I was meeting with a coach who was helping me learn how to say this. And I'm thinking we're brainstorming. And he's like, okay, let's record. And I'm like, what do you mean, let's record? My hair's not done. My makeup's not done. I haven't scripted this. I haven't thought this through. I haven't anything. And he's like, you know what you need to say? Just record. And he hits record and I just start talking and I was done and he goes, one and done. That's it.
Yep.
And I was like, what do you mean? And I got so much great positive feedback from that. And it was because I didn't overthink it. I didn't script it. I didn't anything. I literally just started talking because he hit record. And that ended up being one of my better pieces of content. So I do think we often overthink things and make it way more complicated than it needs to be.
Totally. And people want to see a depth of you as a human being. We have many sides to us. And in this online space, especially with lead generation, people will see an ad or they'll see something and we have it at our fingertips so we can scope people out. So they're going to look at your website. They're going to look at if you have a book, your Amazon page, and what people are saying about your book. They're going to look at your social. They're going to look at your LinkedIn. They're going to look at your website. They're going to look at your funnel. They're going to look at everything to kind of get a feeling for you. And if they don't see anything that connects, now don't get me wrong, you can still have of course, we've all had photo shoots and we've done things in studio. I'm not saying never go beautifully produced work. I'm just saying don't be afraid to show exactly what you said. Just the one and done. Here I am. Here's what's going on. Because sometimes that can be your best work. When people are searching around and checking you out, they want to see all different sides of you and how they connect with you before they make that buying decision.
Yeah, and one of the things that you said in there that I'd love to dig into a little bit more is you mentioned sales psychology.
Mm.
And so, again, I think this is something where people can put so much thought and so much, overthought into a lot of what they're doing. But how can you, in a really simple way, leverage that without having to rely on false urgency and
Oh,
deadlines and a lot of that really transparent, annoying stuff?
my God. I could talk forever about all the things in the online space that make me crazy. And that's what you were saying about the bad information. So integrity is everything. Integrity is everything. And especially the first point of contact. Even in the online space, when everything is evergreen and make money while you sleep. And okay, well, the first point of contact is still so important with people. It sets the whole tone of the relationship. And when you say it's a time-sensitive bonus, or I'm only taking 20 people in this program, and then somebody gets in and there's 40 people in there, you didn't follow through with what you said you were going to do. This price is only going to be good until this day. And then people are scrambling and trying to figure it out to make the price work. And then they realize you kept it going for another month. That's a terrible way to start a business relationship with someone. That's even with why we do a funnel for all of our clients with courses and memberships. Because have you ever bought something, like maybe even on Amazon or wherever, you buy it and you pay and you click and then it just goes, thank you. And you're like, wait a second, did they get my money? Did it go in the right place? Was this a scam? Was I still on the right page? As opposed to seeing a beautiful thank you video come up and you on screen saying, oh my goodness, you're in the program. I'm so excited. Here's what's going to happen next. Here's the first thing you need to do. Here's how to get successful. Here's how to get the most success out of what we're doing together. And you're welcoming them into it. That is so much so we're thinking about, how do I get the sale? That's only 20% of it. 80% of it is how you nurture them after they click and put their credit card information in, whether they're going to stay, whether they're going to do what you want them to do, whether they're going to refund and ask for their money back. So I think it's almost like that begin with the end in mind. How are we going to nurture this relationship all the way through to make sure that they have truth from the start, an easy flow process to get through, and you're always thinking about their experience in mind? So this pain point marketing of false urgency is so bad. And even just pain point marketing, like adding salt into the wound. If somebody's looking for a solution, they're already in pain. We don't need to make the pain worse. We need to speak to the aspiration and speak to the positive of how good their life can become or how awesome things are going to look. And I always start with a really bold promise. I think people are afraid of our greatness. We're afraid to put our stake in the ground and say, I'm going to help you by the end of this program. As long as you do everything I tell you to do, as long as you implement and you follow through, this is what your life's going to look like. This is what's going to happen to your business. This is what your health is going to look like. If you're a dog trainer, you're going to go out for a walk with your dog, and it's going to be the most lovely experience you've ever had in your life. Your dog is not going to be lunging at other dogs. They're going to be healing by your side. They're going to be happy and excited, wagging their tail, and you're going to think, how great is my life with this dog that I'm out walking? Put the stake in the ground. So many people are like, well, it might work, it might not work. I might be able to help you. I might not be able to help you. Don't be wishy-washy. Own your greatness. Oh, and I think that's where sales starts, with a bold promise to say, here's what I'm going to do for you when you invest with me. And not from a cocky or ego standpoint, from a, I know that I've done my due diligence to put together a really great program or a really great coaching thing or a really great product. Because I know I've done the work on my part. Now I'm here to guide you through your journey. So a bold promise, a solid story, overcoming objections. So again, not pain point, going, I remember when I had to make a big purchase decision and I went and talked to my husband about this, and here's how we mapped out whether this is a good choice or a bad choice. I remember when I thought, I don't have any time to complete this. I'm so overwhelmed. Here, objections aren't to push the knife deeper and say, well, you're always going to stay broke if you don't do this. You're always going to be, it's an opportunity to teach. So it's another way to show that you're the thought leader, you're the expert, to own your greatness and to teach. So a bold promise, a great story, overcoming objections through teaching, and then making sure that when they do say yes and they do buy it, that you make it very easy and simple and welcoming and warming for them to be now in your community, using your products, in your world. You're welcoming them. It's like when you're throwing a great party and you're welcoming people in at the door. You're greeting them with a big smile. You're making them feel really welcome. It's the same exact thing in the online space. Even if it's evergreened, even if it's a video and it's passive, that other part is so important in the sales process too.
There was so much gold in that. That was amazing. You guys go back and re-listen to everything that she just said, because that was brilliant. So now let's talk a little bit about lead generation, right? Because I think you walked through a really great process from the sale through kind of really keeping that whole customer journey in mind. But what are some of the things that you're finding are working really well for lead generation? And what is some of that really bad information that people are being given for lead generation?
Well, I think the advice that people don't want to hear, but it is the truth. Lead generation is a very specialized, when we're talking about Facebook, I'll go back to say Facebook ad, like paid lead generation. When we're talking, I'm not talking about boosting a post or little like organic stuff that you can do. I'm talking about, I am setting aside a significant $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. Like I'm at that point where I am ready to invest in lead generation. It is a very skilled thing. So it drives me crazy when people say, I'm going to teach you in 3 easy steps how to put up a Facebook ad, and then you're going to make money while you sleep. Oh, no. Okay, first of all, especially when it's cold market, nobody ever buys on the first ad. So most people say, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to set up my ad. I'm going to press go. I'm going to give it a $500 budget. And then in one day, it's like, all the money's gone. And they're like, wow, Facebook ads don't work. There are so many. I don't even know. We have a Facebook ads expert on our team that is his job. That is what he does. He pays attention every day to the algorithms and the market trends and the things that are working and the things that aren't working, all of the pixels and the lookalike campaigns and the retargeting and the remarketing and the split testing and the conversions. Like, it is a full-time 40-hour a week, if you want to put it that way, or 40 hours. It's a full-time job. So if you even want to dabble in lead generation, you have to be so smart and savvy that you know what you're doing, or you have to have a dedicated team member that knows what they're doing. Because almost everybody I talk to say, I tried that ad thing and it doesn't work. It doesn't work because you don't know what you're doing, because you're not trained and you're not an expert in it. So number one, I believe you have to have a dedicated team member or someone that knows what they're doing. Number two, I can't tell you how many people come to me. So I said, when you're ready and you're at a point to use lead generation, everyone thinks they're ready. They're not. So I can drive all the leads in the world. Remember, it's lead generation, not conversion generation. I can drive all the leads in the world to your cart page, to your landing page, to your thank you page. If it's not good, it's not going to convert. Meaning if you don't have a compelling sales video, if you don't have great copy, if it doesn't look on brand, So I always describe it like, so I have an almost 8-year-old, and he loves McDonald's, which is like, I don't even allow it. Like, it's like, no, it's like it's a birthday thing. Or when he goes out with dad and mom doesn't know about it, he gets McDonald's, right? I mean, I grew up on McDonald's, so I can't brag on it too much, but you see the golden arches and you see the play place and you see Ronald McDonald and you're instantly taken back to something. I can smell the McDonald's fries and I have like a flashback memory, right? Imagine if you pulled up to McDonald's and Ronald McDonald was like holding a salad and was like, here's your kale. Here's your kale Happy Meal. You'd be like, am I in? No, like, give me the greasy fries. I know what I'm here for. When someone sees an ad and they're like, oh my God, I totally want this program. This is exactly what I've needed. And then they go to your social media or your landing page or your funnel and it looks and feels and sounds completely different. The confused mind goes, oh, maybe this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe they're not who I thought it was, right? People don't buy if they don't trust you, which is why you need a great story. They don't buy if they don't trust your product or service, which is why you need testimonials and really clear, solid copy. And they don't buy if they don't understand, if they don't know what they're buying or what they're expected to be doing. So that's why if they're like, whoa, am I still in the right place? I'm here for this coaching program and I'm not sure what I'm looking at. The confused mind is going to say no. So we have a lot of people that come to us and say, I'm ready for lead generation. And then we have a look at their landing page and we're like, no, or they don't even have a landing page, right? And then we say, what's the nurture sequence and the follow-up sequence? Because what are we going to try next if this ad doesn't work? So the fortunes in the follow-up, we're constantly retargeting, we're constantly remarketing, and we're constantly sending people through this loop of authority and content and positioning and branding. So before you even want to go into paid lead generation, your assets have to be on point, meaning your website or your funnel or wherever we're driving, the opt-in, wherever we're driving people to, has to look and feel and sound professional and on brand. You need a nurture or follow-up sequence. Or the other thing, you need a sales team. Like we've had it where we've run lead generation for gyms and dental offices and they're like, oh my God, we have like 100 people we have to call back today and I only have one person in the office. If you have a manual sales team and you're going to start running lead generation that works, you have to make sure you have a sales process or a salesperson that can manage all these leads that are now coming in for you. You got to think through that. And then remarketing, retargeting. A lot of times people don't take that first offer. Where's the next place we're going to take them? What's the next thing we're going to offer them with? Because eventually they either stop paying attention or they buy, one or the other. And lead gen is a long-term thing too. A lot of people say, I want to spend $5,000 this month and I want to at least make back $5,000 this month. They want a one-to-one. And it doesn't always work that way. It takes at least 3 months for us to know what people are paying attention to and what they're doing, whether they're going to the sales page and not buying, whether they're looking at the ad and completely ignoring it, whether they're clicking on that picture or not. It takes time to collect that data. So if you kind of want to go for 1 month, throw money at something on lead generation and hope to make $1 million while you sleep, that's the promise that a lot of bad people are telling you, but that's not actually what happens with lead generation.
Yeah, again, so much gold in all of that, really. Myself and my team tried for a while to figure out ads, and we bought courses and we really dug into it, and we got some results and we got some traction. But I really quickly learned, and I was like, why are we spending our time on this? We aren't Facebook ads people. We have no interest in being Facebook ads people. We could redirect that time and actually help our clients and coach more people and reach more people if we just, find somebody who knows what they're doing and can do this for us. We figured enough out that we feel pretty confident in what we're looking for. Now we just need to find somebody that will do it for us. And I think so often we try to save money or be cost effective or something. And so we try to do it ourselves. And I think there's value in knowing enough about something before you bring somebody on to do it for you. But I don't think that we should become the Facebook ad experts in our business if our zone of genius and what we're here to do is coach and consult with people. And
yeah, that's like saying, oh, I think the brakes went on my car. I mean, I could just go and watch a YouTube video. Like, I could go and fix my own brakes. I mean, I've never been a mechanic and I've never, like, fiddled on a car, but I mean, I can go figure it out. It's like, no, 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 no. Yeah,
It's so true. And it's like, and then what is it costing you, right? It's like, sure, you could do it. You could do anything. Literally, you could do anything.
of course.
But by spending time on those other things, you're not spending time on the thing that your customers are coming to you for and helping them get the transformation and results that you want in the way that you want. So,
Yes. And lead gen, sometimes you don't even need it. Like, we get asked that a lot too. Like, do you run your own as a lead generation agency? It's part of what we do. Do you run your own? And I say, yeah, if I have a new opt-in and I want to grow my list, we'll run it. But we do a lot. Ours is like a one-to-one business. So we get a lot of referrals, speaking on podcasts, summits, things like that. I don't consistently always run even our own lead generation. I wait for when it makes sense to want to do it and know that it's a 6-month, long-term thing for us to run it. So lead gen is great when you've tapped out organically. You've tapped out you have a proven product system. It's proven. You know it converts and you know it works. And now you want to blast it out. It's not meant to test. It's not meant to like screw around with your money. It's meant for, I have a proven system and product and thing that and whole flow through that works. Now I want to get it in front of more people. Those are the ones that do the best.
makes so much sense, right? Amplify what you already know is working, and it de-risks the spend and investment that you're putting in it too, because you already know or have a lot of confidence in the fact that it will convert and it will actually get people results. Now you just want more people to see it.
110%. People think it's lead gen. I turn it on, it makes money, and people buy it. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I'll try. You don't want to try. Lead gen is for when you know and you want to amplify. Amplify is a great word that you said. Amen.
Okay, I feel like we could just talk for like the next 8 hours here, but with that, let's start to wrap up. And I want to ask you the question that I ask everybody, which is, how in your business do you work smarter, not harder, and keep things lean?
Oh man. So one of my like limiting beliefs and one of my things I had to get over is I'm like a rescuer. So I'm like the dive in when things go wrong. I'll just fix it. I got it. I got to keep the ship moving. And a lot of that was this fierce independence of growing up where in a household where I had to fend for myself. I grew up very quickly with the household that I grew up in, and I had to figure things out. No one was going to help me. And even me, I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college. Like I've had my first job when I was 14. Like I've always been a workhorse. I've always been a worker. I've always been I got this, I got you, put the weight on my shoulders. That doesn't work very well when you have a team. And then you realize you're the lag. You're the one. I would find myself going, oh my God, we can't take on any more clients. Like we're at the max. We can't serve anybody else. Why is that? Because I wasn't letting people do what they were good at. And if let's say, for example, we had a copywriter that's writing funnel copy or website copy, and I get it back and I'm like, oh man, they totally missed the mark. Like they were not paying attention or, it doesn't work. I'd be like, okay, I just need to sit down today and rewrite it. Okay, because we got to get this out. The deadline's tomorrow. Instead of using it as a teaching opportunity to go back to that copywriter and be like, hey, you missed the mark here. What happened? Did you need more clarity? Did I not give you enough information? Do you need to get on a call with the client? What's happening? So instead of using curiosity and fact finding and holding people accountable to the job that they're being hired and paid for, I would try to just rescue and get in and fix. And we don't always need to fix it. We need to rely on the team members that are good at what they do and hold them accountable. So it used to just be my husband and I did all the copy and the content and the video scripts and the strategy. And my husband did all the branding and the coding and the tech and the back end stuff. And we realized that's a really quick way to burn out when it's just the two of you. So we had to hire, and then we had to hold them accountable. to what we hired them for. And it is, and even with that, it's a relationship to get to know what their strengths are and how they tick and how you work together. Everything is relationship building. So really it was letting the team do what they're great at. And every time they make a mistake, not trying to dive in and fix it. Really creating this solid working relationship together where I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing. And if we're not seeing eye to eye or it's not working out, we're coming together and we're talking about it and we're fixing it together versus me trying to just fix everything on my own. You have to let people help you. You have to let people help you and let them do what they're good at.
Yeah, and I think so many entrepreneurs struggle with that. So good for you for A, recognizing it, and B, actually completely shifting that entire approach, because your business, I'm sure, is much more sustainable,
Oh,
and it probably requires much less of you at this point if you've got that trusted team that you could rely on, and they know they're going to be held accountable, so they're going to get it done and do it well.
yeah, burnout, I don't believe burnout isn't because you're doing too many things. Burnout is because you're doing the things that don't excite you. Burnout is because you're doing the draggy things that you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. When you I don't want to do Facebook ads, but our Facebook ad guy loves his job, right? Our copier, they love what they do. You have to be in a position that you're doing your zone of genius and you love what you do. And if you don't love it, just because you can doesn't mean you should. But if you don't love it, you got to find that team member and you got to hire it out. Then business stays fun. It stays exciting. You don't get burnt out. You got to let people help you. Yeah. Love it.
I love so much of that. Of course, like this whole episode has been such gold. So
Yeah.
tell people more about you, like what's going on in your world, what's coming up next, and where can they find more about you and, potentially working with you.
Yes. So our website, if you search my name, Lisa Pezik, Lisapezik, you will find lisapezik.com is our website. infinitedesignhouse.com is our company website to see the work that we do. This has been a really interesting year and a half of me really stepping into my legacy work and what I want, what goodness I really want to leave in the world. So when I build courses, memberships, programs for other people, that's their legacy work. Yes, it's mine because we brought it to life and we made it possible, but it's really their business, their baby. We just helped see their greatness and brought it out and made it available to the world. For me, I got asked to do a TED Talk, which is super exciting because I never wanted to step on a TED stage unless, again, good content, bad content, unless I really felt like I had an idea worth sharing. I have tons of ideas and tons of things I can bring to a stage and talk about, but I really shied away from what is going to be this idea worth sharing that is mine and mine only. So I hired coaches to help me. I got a TED Talk coming up. Not sure if it's going to be fall or winter, but I got a TED Talk coming up. And then I've stepped into the world of solo theater. So I am writing and producing and putting out a one-woman play. I've never done theater. I've never acted. I've never done solo theater. So I'm learning this incredible art of expressing yourself. I always wanted to do theater as a kid, and my parents were like, no, there's no time for that. We're not getting into that. But you're never too late to bring out your dream. You can't let your dreams die. So I'm stepping into that, and hopefully next year it will be out and about in what's called the fringe festivals and where solo theater goes. And then my husband is really digging into equity building, which is really interesting. Instead of being paid fee for service, how to have his hand to do the work, but have his hand in some of the companies and things. So that's a whole nother world of growth and information. But what I'm learning is that I'm always learning. I'm always looking for, I know we were talking about this before we got on. I'm always looking for creative ways to express myself, creative outlets, legacy work, legacy building, and continuing to stay curious. That even if I don't know, I don't have a plan, I don't know how it's going to work out, to go, well, let's try. Let's dive in. Let's see what we can create with this. And that's the exciting stuff that I have coming up for the rest of this year and into next year.
So, just a couple little tiny things.
Yeah, just a few.
Absolutely amazing. And below, in the show notes, you'll find the links to everything that Lisa has going on, and we'll update the links with all of your goodness when it comes out. And if you guys have not listened to my interview on Lisa's podcast, definitely recommend that you do that as well. So, Lisa, really thank you so much. Just so much amazing information in this episode, and you are an amazing human being. So thank you for being on the show, and look forward to chatting with you again soon. Everyone have an amazing week, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. I hope you got a lot of value and actionable insights from today's show, and would love if you take a moment to leave us a review. If you have any questions on today's episode or on how to lean out your business, join us over in our private Facebook community, where every week we do live training and Q&A, and I'd love to have you be part of the conversation. Head to leanoutmethod.com/group to join us. And before you go, be sure to subscribe to the show so you're the first to know when we release a new episode. We'll see you next week.